Now, there are fears that the coronavirus outbreak could become a pandemic. We now know there are confirmed cases in 35 countries.
Questions over its early response and the silencing of medics who tried to raise the alarm.
We must focus on containment.
Into a full-blown global pandemic.
Since Friday, several towns in Lombardy and in Veneto are on lockdown.
The world is scary right now. With the virus and everyone's in quarantine, how does one even stay creative in a time like this?
What's happening, people? Welcome back to Leon Unity, the creative community by Leon Films. I'm Petros, and I'm an award-winning writer, director, and general filmmaker, both behind and sometimes in front of the camera too, which can be a bit difficult when you're stuck inside. I'm stuck inside. Right now, we're all stuck inside. The UK is on official lockdown, and so is the rest of Europe, the United States, and hell, the entire planet. And while there are some promising leads that this too will soon pass, it's still a hard time for us creatives. But just because this is a world-changing event that will probably be one of the single biggest of our lifetimes, doesn't mean that we can't use this time at home in lockdown, quarantine, or self-isolation, or whatever you want to call it, to be creative. The problem is that being creative in a time like this can be extremely difficult. And while I focus mostly here on this channel with writing and filmmaking, the following can apply to any creative. Most of us rely on a certain level of decent mental health. A lot of us often channel our emotional state into our creative output. And when that state is in a negative one, it can be hard to have the energy, let alone the creative drive, to write, shoot, or develop any idea. For me, at least personally, I feel the myth of the tortured artist is a very damaging one. And that develops the idea that we as creatives need to be in some form of depression in order to actually be creative, when frankly it's actually kind of the opposite. But that's a discussion for another time. Today I'm going to talk about our current situation.
We're stuck inside in quarantine and it's driving us all slowly insane.
But there is a solution. Getting creative can help our mental state by helping us break out of what psychologists and cognitive therapists call negative behaviors. Behaviors that encircle us back into a depressive state and enhance other parts of the depressive cycle. This creates a dangerous feedback loop. Being creative and taking pride in our creations allows us to feel a sense of accomplishment in our creations and our ideas, which can break our negative patterns by learning what inspires us and what makes us feel better. Then how can you be creative while in self-isolation or stuck in a quarantine? Sounds like a bit of a catch-22. It's a lot easier than ever before in the modern era. Each of these will come out as actionable steps to directly boost your creative workflow while stuck in quarantine. So, let's begin. Being inspired by others. We have in our hands the sum collective knowledge of the entirety of human history. And now more than ever, it's easy to find something to inspire your creativity. After all, writing good things and creativity doesn't come out of nowhere. We're inspired by the things we watch, listen to, read. Every person who ever wrote a novel or a screenplay was inspired by those that came before them. Every photographer, cinematographer, or filmmaker was inspired by the artists that came before them. Here's the actionable step. Find your platform of choice where creatives thrive. My suggestions include platforms such as Skillshare, or for completely free, YouTube. Now this is maybe a bit of a biased thing to say, but as a search-based video platform, it's an excellent resource for finding over a decade and a half's worth of creations by other people. Find several creators who came before you and learn from them. Study what they've done, how they inspire you, and take that inspiration to the page with you. Every creative will take what they've learned and put their own spin on it, so you don't need to worry about being a rip-off. Which is why even direct tutorials can help break the mold, because in the end you'll find your own way to make it your iteration. It doesn't matter if you've seen or heard it before, it doesn't have to be new in order to inspire. So watch that movie or show, or YouTube video. Listen to that song, watch the dancer on TikTok, and find a way to be inspired by the creatives that came before you. Listening to music. Famed writer Victor Hugo once said, "Music expresses that which cannot be put into words and that which cannot remain silent." And take it from the guy whose novel about a French Revolution went on to become one of the most popular musicals of all time. And that happened nearly 100 years after he died. Music can inspire. And as a writer, I personally have created playlists that inspire me, as have plenty of other writers, such as Brandon Sanderson. Personally, I find music that doesn't have lyrics to it usually more inspiring. If music can generate an emotional connection to that creative part of your brain, then it can inspire you, especially if it doesn't have lyrics that are being forced on you to make you think a certain way and think about a story as it is. It can also be a comfort to you, to take your mind away to another place, away from the current situation we're in without ever having to leave your home. Actionable step. Open Spotify, Amazon Music, or again, YouTube, and find yourself some music that will take you away. Listen to a few songs and create a playlist out of it all, and then save that for future use. Also in the description below, I have a bunch of playlists that I've created that inspire me from movies and stuff that I like, as well as links to those from other creatives. So close your eyes and let the music wash over you. Then channel the emotions it generates in you to create something. Let it create pictures and stories in your mind, and let the music take your mood in the direction you need it to go to be creative. Put pen to paper and let the music inspire you and guide you in the background. Doodling. Speaking of pen to paper, you'd be surprised that no matter how much artistic talent and experience you have, doodling can be a great way to just let your mind flow and break out of those blocks. I'm not saying that you must become a professional illustrator here. I'm just saying doodle for fun. Anything. It doesn't matter. Actionable step. Grab a pen and some paper and start drawing whatever is in your mind. Whatever it is telling to you, don't think about it. Draw your favorite characters. Doodle a Superman symbol. I've done that 100 times. Maybe even try one of those TikTok art challenges if you feel you're up to it. If you do decide to learn how to create art this way, and frankly, I might do something soon because my storyboarding skills need serious work. There are plenty of online resources from YouTube to Skillshare that can help you learn how to hone that craft. But just try doodling anything. A map of your world you're creating to a random doodle of ducks. I don't know what's in your beautiful brains. Take a break. Alright people, I'll be honest, I am terrible at this one. But sometimes the best way to stay creative is to stop trying to force it. One of the best ways to do this is to get out of your own brain. We are allowed to go for a walk or a jog. Take the precautions we have to right now and stay 6 feet or 2 meters apart from people. Actionable step. Go for a run or a walk. Get outdoors and let your brain turn off its forced creativity and rejuvenate itself.
Actually, having been stuck inside for about 3 weeks now and not gone to the gym, running, it's not such a great idea. Even filming this bit just now, I'm gonna go pass out and wash my hands when I get inside.
Your brain needs to rest too. You can combine this with music if you want, but if you don't want to risk it, if you want to stay in there, there is another way to take a break and rejuvenate the brain. And it's not alcohol. Trust me, that does the opposite. It's like baby out with the bathwater for a creative. It kind of like kills the bad stuff and the good stuff in your brain. So it's kind of like using a nuke to mow your lawn. Sure, it'll get the job done, but you'll also blow up the lawn. Don't use a nuke to mow your lawn. Meditation. Now, I've only tried this a couple of times, and it doesn't mean you have to go full hippie. There is no shame in trying something that literally millions of people have done for thousands upon thousands of years. Be free. Be one with the universe, dude. Make art, not war. But seriously, there is a lot you can do, from casually closing your eyes to going full body hot yoga. Actionable step. There are plenty of guides out there that you can look into online. One yoga instructor I personally recommend is Kat Meffin. She's an old school friend of mine and genuinely one of the most awesome people I've ever known. And if yoga isn't your thing, then I'm sure there are plenty of other guys out there. I'm not going to pretend I'm some sort of meditation guru master. I personally don't do it very often, but here's the thing. A lot of creatives do to find their purpose and rebalance those scales in their brain. Physical exercise. Do not go to the damn gym. I can't stress this enough. There's 100 ways you can work out from home and 100 plans you can do to exercise a little. Do not go to the gym. But getting the blood pumping can get your brain functioning. I mean, our whole life is based around the idea of oxygen getting to our vital organs. It's how they function at all. So exercise will crank that process up. Actionable steps. In addition to the literal millions of hours of video on the subject of home workouts, there are a lot of apps out there like Freeletics and Fitbod that can help build a routine for you without ever having to touch a machine in the gym. If you want to do resistance training, you can buy yourself resistance bands to do your weight style training, and trust me, a good workout with those can be even more grueling than chunky weights.
You'd be surprised just how much of a workout you can get with only your body weight.
Also, he'd kill me if I didn't mention him, but Chris Morty, the Tensegrity coach, is a client of mine, and he's got some excellent workout from home videos. Schedule and organization. Some people say that over-organizing can be the antithesis of creativity, but total chaos is never going to help you focus. It's why I'm such a stickler for having a structure in my stories. You can have a method to your madness, but the key is having a method in there. Somewhere. Planning out what you're going to do for a few days can help you find the time in your schedule and organize your thoughts into set spaces in what, for every creative I know, is a severely overcluttered brain. But now that I've given you a whole lot of ways to boost your creativity, while we're all locked up and locked down, let's log them in a calendar. Actionable step. Calendar scheduling and planning your day using apps is one thing you can do. Using a written calendar helps too if you're into that. If you have an Alexa or Google Home, then you can ask them to schedule stuff for you, which, as a side note, you can also use to play music if you want to. Just ask it any genre that you're kind of like interested in the idea of exploring right now. Another great bit of technology that works across phones and computers is the app called Todoist. Now, it's not the only to-do list app on the market, but it helps you schedule and plan what you're going to do, and it's my personal favorite. And psychologically, by ticking things off in a list, you will feel that sense of accomplishment, and it will help unburden the pressure that's going on up here. As I said earlier, being creative requires breaking out of certain negative routines. Sticking to a good routine every day that gives you a feeling of accomplishment is going to be very valuable. And so there's a whole range of activities to try. But let me know in the comments if you have any techniques for staying creative in these very tumultuous times. I'd like to know, and I'd like to try them out. Maybe I'll do that in another video. Self-isolating can frankly be very isolating, but that doesn't have to stop your creativity. And I'm sure other people in our creative community could very much use some help in these times. If you need to talk at all, go ahead and feel free to hit me up on Twitter. I love to chat. It's just at Petros of Sparta. On the Leon Film Social, we also read everything, every comment on here too, and any ideas you have on staying creative in these times, we'll share with everyone else. We will get through this. It's not going to be easy, but it's not going to be impossible. We need to use our creative minds because the world frankly needs us now more than ever before. You have a gift that the world needs to create and inspire. We might not be the technical doctor or a nurse or an essential worker to a specific task at hand, but that's the blessing and curse of being a creative, of being a writer, a musician, an artist. And if you want to see a little bit more from us, consider subscribing and maybe giving that notification bell a little bit of a ring to stay up to date with all the stuff that we put out there. This is a small channel and I want to help it grow again, especially in times like this when I feel people could need, or at the very least use, some tips on how to be creative. I feel like things like that can help people. So consider subscribing, maybe give the video a like and share it with your friends, just to see any other creators who might need something like this. The world cannot survive without creators because we inspire and help the world progress. So in these trying times, take time to look after yourselves and to do what you can to look after our world by creating new worlds.